From the breeding grounds through the migration routes to the southern wintering areas, Ducks Unlimited has been conserving waterfowl habitat for 86 years. DU volunteers and supporters have helped conserve over 15 million acres, but the work isn't done yet. To play your part in the next 15 million acres, visit www.ducks.org and join our volunteer team, or find an event near you. Ducks Unlimited, the world leader in wetlands and waterfowl conservation.
Bottomland is Mossy Oak's original camo pattern created by Toxie Hayes over 3 decades ago. This pattern preserves the original design while applying advanced technology for increased effectiveness. The same field-proven components and colors, the same dirt and bark elements, the same ability to blend into dark environments and obscure a hunter's outline from every angle. Mossy Oak Bottomland.
Get 'em.
Welcome, folks. Y'all come on in and make yourself at home. This here, well, this is the Rolling Thunder Podcast, your home for all things Rolling Thunder. This episode is brought to you by Mossy Oak, because everything is better in Bottomland. Kent Cartridge, quality matters, performance counts. Shen Gear, waterfowl gear that is built better. Benelli USA, dominate the skies. And Ducks Unlimited, the world's leader in wetlands and waterfowl conservation.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, nothing good.
Nothing good?
Nothing good.
Boy, I mean,
It's been a tough day here for me.
has it been a tough day? Why don't you unpack that for us?
I think the only thing that I can say is I just assumed the role of punching bag today for whatever
really?
reason. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that we #got mean today.
That's a good way to put it.
How about that for a second?
That was good.
That was nice.
That was good.
Like you had that planned. You teed it up.
I did. Inadvertently, that worked out very well.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not sorry.
I know you're not.
Will.
I'm not really sorry either.
I'm just going to mute Drake's microphone the rest
I'm
of the
sorry,
podcast.
felt like the right next thing to say. Anyway, so you're saying you've had a bad day, or
I wouldn't say a bad day.
oh, it's just been a hard day?
Yeah.
You want to unpack any of that for us, or you want to just move right on?
No. You don't strike me as much as a shrink, so I'll save it for my therapist.
Snappy.
That feels like a very indirect way of saying you're not a good listener, so I'm not going to talk.
Spin it however you want to.
If the shoe fits, feel free to step into it.
How about this weather?
Well. Welcome to another episode. You want to kick off the topic, or you want me to? Oh man!
Can we just start over or something?
No! This hole is the only way to get out of a
Red.
the only way to get out of a deep hole is to, do you keep digging? How do you?
Dig your way out.
I'm sorry. Today has been a rough day for you, and it's been because of me. That's about all the lifeline I can give you. You've provided some really good input today, and I feel like it was,
that.
Sometimes the coach has to yell at you because you're, I don't know, in the wrong spot or on the field, and
Or just because.
yeah,
Never know.
I feel like today was one of those just because days.
maybe. But I guess where I was trying to go with this was you responded to the, I grabbed you by the front of your mask and shook you and was like, "What? Get your head out of your ass!" And you came back with like one of the more profound perspectives on the day. I mean, so you're going home wounded, but I'm
still scored a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm kind of like,
Lived
hey,
in the end zone, but I still got there.
Oh, maybe we do need to redo this. or hug or something. I mean,
Just promise me it won't happen again.
hell no, I'm not promising that. That's like asking the quarterback to promise he's never going to throw another interception. It's like,
Yeah.
you're going to throw another one, but it won't be a career ender.
No. Hope not.
No, but we have covered a lot of stuff today, and this is a hard time of year around here. Honestly, I mean it's hard to stay motivated. I know y'all are probably sick and tired. I'm pointing at Drake and Riley. Y'all are probably sick and tired of tuning calls, O-ring and stuff. Putting bands on. Like this time of year it is hard work, and it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel because it's like it's never going to end. And those 3 machines in there freaking spit them out.
We've noticed.
Smokestack coming off the machine room.
I mean, I think Kobe set a single-day record yesterday. It's like 110 inserts off one machine.
Jeez.
And,
One day.
But, all that's good.
Billion
we're-
bands.
Drake's down there like, well, I increased efficiency. I figured out how to polish 5 bands at one time. Kobe's making 100 calls at a time.
We'll catch up one of these days.
One of these days.
No, but I mean, I guess I'm trying to dig our way out of the hole to just say that this is a tough time of year in the call business. It's slow. There's not a ton of stuff selling because everybody's done with turkey season. Everybody hadn't quite gotten out of like beach and lake mode into duck season mode, and so this is where you set yourself apart. It's where you make plans for both the fall, but also next spring. And I say make plans for the fall. We're actually right now we're working on plans for fall of 24. I mean, fall of 23 has already been baked. I mean, we're about to start shipping that stuff, so, now it's like, where are we going to hunt this fall and what are we going to make for next fall? And so it's such a weird, like until you've lived it and been through that cycle a couple of times, it's such a weird business cycle to be in because you're still just kind of hung over from turkey season and kind of don't really want to talk about it anymore. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, shoot, y'all, Canada's like, what, 3 months away?
Oh, it's not far.
Less
4,
than,
Yeah.
3.5.
And you start adding up how many calls those machines can make and how many we can tune and how many we can polish. And it's like, there's not quite enough days. I mean, so you kind of have to just buckle down and do the best you can and hope the results take care of themselves. And to your point, our conversation earlier, I mean, we're planning on some stuff that's a year and a half out and working on some new business ideas and some new products. And anyways.
Speaking of new products.
You're tired of talking about it.
No.
I'm trying to work my way around to giving you a real high compliment because after I grabbed him by the face mask and, told him to, as Keelan Samples told Weston, get your head out your ass, boy.
It's not in there, but I can't see him, Daddy.
Yeah. By the way, did y'all see the video of that? Jason pulled it off the hard drive for Keelan on Friday while we were all here at the golf scramble.
Oh, gosh.
Keelan was like, oh, yeah, that was painful to watch. He was like, it's not funny anymore.
He's like, yep, he really couldn't see it.
Like, literally the turkey bumped into the blind as it walked past it. He's like, shoot it. Can't see it. Turkey walks off and Keelan throws something down and goes, gosh dang, boy, you got to get your head out of your ass. No, but anyways, we're kind of navigating through a couple of new products and kind of some new avenues that we're trying to go down. And you got a really good perspective about our brand versus other brands. And so can't divulge all those details because they're nice and tightly tied up with non-disclosure agreements. But I mean, I'm sorry for fussing at you, but I do feel like you came out and, hit a walk.
Responded well.
I wouldn't say you responded well, but you came with some very valuable input.
Talking about a backhanded compliment. Goodness gracious.
You pouted for a while. I mean,
How long is a while? Can we not? Let's talk about something else.
Oh, my. I can sit here and watch this all day long.
they're having a blast.
Kick back. Just back and forth. Heads back and forth.
Well, if you're still listening,
Yeah.
today's podcast, you're not letting me off the hook here.
What are you talking about?
Oh, we're going to transition into what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
We got a good nerd episode.
We do have a great nerd episode about a great new product we have.
All right. Tell us about it.
Rouse, tell us about it.
It's a duck call. It's a J-frame duck call.
Oh my god!
Well, this is
We got a mean duck. We've got a mean duck.
Just bear with us, guys. Please, just bear with us. We're at the end of the day.
so it's summertime. It's time to launch new duck calls, and the new duck call for the month of June is the MeanDuck.
Super stoked about it. It
Get
is.
mean.
It's it's our, I guess, first J-frame, and I don't exactly know how many years.
Yeah,
But it's
been a minute.
It's awesome to kind of dip back into it, and it was the first one that I've ever really been a part of, and it was really cool. Learned a ton, and super fun, aggressive, raspy call. I think a lot of guys are going to like it.
Yeah. So we're launching this call. It's a new model. It's called the MeanDuck. We're launching it officially online June the 29th, which I think is a Thursday, right? Does that sound right?
Friday, I believe.
Let's check.
That right there.
No, it's a Thursday.
Yep.
Because the first is a Saturday.
Yep. Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Thursday, June the 29th. And we soft launched these at NWTF, got a good response. I would say that response to the call was slightly overshadowed by the Mr. Fox / XL Ebonite craze. I mean, there was like this circular line that came in past Mossy Oak, and about 1 out of every 5 that came past Mossy Oak just made the loop tire place. And, Visa and MasterCard both must have had fantastic months in the hunting community in the month of February. So we soft launched it there, and with just one color. And why don't you kind of go into some of the, actually, before we go into some of the feedback that we got, let's just, while we're nerding out here, let's talk about the history. You mentioned that this is the first J-frame we've come out with in a long time. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but the first J-frame that we did was called, gosh, I'm supposed to know the history.
Beast.
Rook.
The Rook was the first one. You're right. And that was I
used to listen to a lot of
Reach way
podcasts.
back.
I worked out of a truck. I just ripped podcast all day. So.
Yeah, so the Rook was the first one, and that was a hand-turned call. That was where the two little double, like the two little, I don't know what you want to call them, but the little lumps up by the band where the lanyard groove goes, that's where that shape came from. And then I took the Rook and made it into what we named the Swamp Fox, which was just kind of a very basic J-frame. It had a longer barrel than what most everybody else's has, and I think that while that made it aesthetically and proportionally, look better, the controls were not there in terms of what people want out of a J-frame. I mean, it wouldn't get that squeaky ink very well, because the barrel was so long. And the exhaust was too long, so it kind of had a one-dimensional, like you could quack on it, but it didn't do any of the other things very well, and we never sold it very well. And it was kind of we sold, I guess, say we never sold very many of them. I've sold a blue million of them, but nothing compared to how many cut downs we sold. And so it was always sort of a eye-opening experience, because while you offer somebody a J-frame, they come over to you and they want your cut down, and so really the lesson that I learned from the Swamp Fox was, by and large, we're a cut down company. I was always trying to get away from a cut down because I was worried about it being a niche and not being able to sell enough of them to make the company float. But then it was kind of like circling back to it. It was, the cut down's been the lifeblood of it. Instead of coming out with a new J-frame, what we needed to be doing was coming out with a new cut down. And so after admitting all those lessons, here we are. We're coming out with a new J-frame. Like history just repeats itself. But that being said, I do think that one of the reasons that we didn't do very well with the Swamp Fox over the years was because there was another J frame that kind of had, in my mind, stranglehold on the market. And while it's, I don't know, Drake, you kind of off air protested about calling it a J frame, and it's probably fair.
Yeah, it's a great call. It's got the feel and the sound of, I guess, what a lot of people would say a hybrid. Like a Lair's, just that crunchy noise that you're not getting out of a bigger duck call.
What Keith Allen called that 30-pound duck.
Yeah.
Big, heavy. And the Lair's hybrid really was what I always felt like kicked my teeth in with the Swamp Fox.
Right.
And so that's where the Beast came from, was let's get a bigger bore, let's make it more open, let's shorten the barrel down. And it just never got right. Like the Beast was loud, and I mean you could make it ring, but the barrel was so short it didn't have the control to be like a Main Street call, and so it was always hard to machine and hard to control. And anyways, when we started doing this, when we all started doing this together, January, February of last year, I said we need to stop piddling with those two, quote unquote. Hate to call them losers, but we're not gonna make a living selling these. We need to focus our attention on cut downs, which is where we made the R better, and then we made the XL even better than that. In my view, we went back and improved the OG. Like I felt like we shored up the foundation of who we are, what we are, and the products that we're putting out there. And so now it's time to kind of branch into that. Back into that J-frame-ish market.
Mm-hmm. All you guys that come up to us at the booth say, "Oh, y'all ain't got a J-frame? We do now."
That's right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that kind of want that heavy, crunchy sound, like you were talking about, that they hear their buddy blow in a Lair's hybrid, or there's a handful of other calls that have that same kind of sound, and it's cut down-ish, but it doesn't have the long barrel, so it doesn't take quite the air control, and it's got a little better handles on the bottom, and so it kind of meets that. Hybrid's the right word for it, and I don't know why it bothers me, but I think just because I enjoyed our hybrid so much, it was different. But it's very much of a hybrid sound. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Ross?
To me, if you was to explain it to people on the outside, the guys that blow our cut downs, I would relate it, to a Brute R as it handles, with all that rasp and not having to create it yourself. So I think that's why a lot of people lean to the Brute R, and like that JJ Lair's hybrid, all the guys that blow J-frame calls, like that rasp is already there for them, and they can do, like you was talking about earlier, that simple 5-note, tap with the tip of their tongue, and they're going to get rasp. They don't necessarily have to blow it, how Drake would say, correct, as perfect as he blows with super clean air. Those guys can get away with just doing just about whatever and get the sound. It's super user-friendly to me.
That is something that I noticed when the Lair's hybrid started gaining popularity in our part of the world. Obviously, it's been out in California for forever. But in our part of the world, I'd say in the last, 15 years, really, kind of, I feel like parallel with the popularity of cut downs, you see a ton of people blowing Lair's hybrids. And I feel like it's because they get this sound out of it that they have always wanted to get out of a duck call, but that for whatever reason they haven't been able to produce.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I can think of a number of people that I've hunted with that I heard them blow a Lair's hybrid, and it was like, that was a pretty solid 5-note quack. And you hand them another call, and you're like, please don't do that again. So like it. But I mean, then a guy who really can blow a call well still sounds really good on it. It's not
great,
like the training wheels are so heavy there.
Byron, for example, he loves it. He's a guy that can blow a duck call really well, and taking him one, and he's all about it, loves it.
Yeah.
So,
so talk about just a little bit about the construction. The obvious question, if somebody says, well, why did y'all build this call? My response to that is because outside of the cut down space, to me, the sound that you get out of a Lair's hybrid is kind of the king of what everybody wants to hear right now. And it's pretty hard to sell a Swamp Fox when what somebody wants is a Lair's hybrid. So I wanted us to build a call that competed with that sound, had that sound, but I wanted us to do it in our own way. Why don't you one of you guys walk through kind of just aesthetically what somebody's going to see and what they're going to.
It's stepped away completely from our old shape. I mean, it's got its own shape. It's super small profile, and it feels really good in your hand. Right there where you set your thumb on the insert, it's got a big bell on it, so it feels really good. The exhaust is super wide open. It's really loud and aggressive. And what we did, whenever we did release it at NWTF, we did do a few boring changes on it. And Drake, you had more to do with that than I did. So if you want to touch on that.
Yeah. Let's see. So when we first did this call, we knew it was missing something. We knew that it was missing a little bit of a buzz, a rattle to it. So we did a little trick to the reed. It's almost, I guess you'd say, a Band-Aid. And we went back, made a few changes in the bore. I will say Spence said it wasn't going to work, and it did.
And I will say I walked in and said I was wrong.
He did say that. He did. Anyhow,
I'm glad I did not make a wager because I would have put my house, my truck,
but anyways,
should we tell what that was? Because I think it was pretty interesting. That was.
Yeah. Basically, our bore was a little bit too long, in my opinion. And if you really want to nerd out on it, you put this duck call flat and you envision how that air is going to hit that tone board. And it was almost like there's just too much of a abrupt flow, I guess, as you will. And what we did was we shortened that board just a little bit to give us more meat on the end of that tone board and allowing us to be able to shape more and maybe get different sounds and feels for someone that maybe that is looking for something else. That being said, we changed all that up and
I thought so. Just what I was wrong about was you wanted to shorten the bore because you wanted more real estate on the end of the hole, basically. Right. And I thought we were already dealing with a very short bore, and in my experience, when you shorten the bore even more, it gets super sticky and it airlocks, and I'll be damned if it loosened it up.
It did loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's
and
what I was
amazed. And just a funny story, just so that we can document this, and nobody, including Frawley, can say that I've never said I was wrong. I know I can border on being arrogant, but when he first so Mark cut one, or drilled one, I guess I should say, and the very first one, Drake carried it in there. So he drilled it, cut the stone board, and Drake walked in there and put a reed in there, and he hadn't trimmed it, and it was like, and I turned around and walked out. I was like, told him. And I mean, I didn't get 5 steps out of the office, and he trim, and it went. I turned around, I was like, oh, shit. I just walked in there, I opened the door, I was like, I was wrong. But yeah, it really did loosen it up a lot. And so, I mean, I feel like, and y'all can speak for yourselves, but this is a significantly superior sound and call than the first, 50 that we soft launched in Nashville.
Mm-hmm. Runs way smoother, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just on the bottom a lot. On the bottom end, it's just so much more consistent, feeling smoother running.
And for those guys that are wanting to make adjustments and do this, that, and the other, there's a ton of meat left to play around with it.
Yeah. Full customizable.
Great, here we go.
Yeah.
All things cut down. We've got a Carter Philippi modified MeanDuck over here. It's got a short exhaust because of the short pair of 5.5-inch inseam khaki shorts. It does have a lot of meat on that tone board. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're going to do when you sand on it, but I would be.
I've been meaning to go after it on one of them just to see. You know, but I haven't done it yet. Been too busy doing real stuff.
Tuning ones that we need to actually sell. You want to give us a little toot on it?
Oh yeah, sure. give you a little sound file. Yeah, man, I wish I could do that.
You can't?
Hit
it with that, I'm trying to think of how to describe it, but like the average guy that hears that, the average customer that walks up to the table or call counter that hears you blow that call and says to their buddy, well, I can't ever do that. Blow it like that customer would blow that 4 or 5 note, just real simple quack, just, you know, like if you're going to, I guess what I'm saying is if you're going to take that call and you're going to be an effective member of your calling crew, you know what I mean? You're not going to try to get out over your skis, you know. So for the guy who's listening, who's like, you know, I'm never going to be a contest caller, or they're going to, you know, they hear what you just did a minute ago and they think that's unattainable. I think the coolest thing about this call is it makes that 4 or 5 note quack sequence. To me, that's very attainable.
Oh, and it's super easy to get there.
So
too.
smooth.
Right. That's what I'm getting at.
That was such a smooth, I mean, anybody could do that.
And you can
literally
you can dump a lot into.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but you don't have to. You know?
No, because it just seems like that pitch and tone of that call travels really well. I haven't really blown one outside just a whole ton, but just that it's real loud in that tuning room. I'll be honest with you.
It is real loud. I have actually been blowing one outside. I built myself one the other night after y'all left. Went in there and just proofed what y'all were doing. Pulled about 10 of them out of the box and tooted on them, made sure they were all pretty close to the same, and y'all, that was real good.
Sweet.
I'm not gonna say it was an A plus. I'm gonna say it was an A minus.
They'll fit somebody.
I mean, a 92 all day long.
Yeah, exactly. They were actually an A plus. I just don't want to say that with squints in the room. You know, given the hole we've been in today, I'm not sure he's ready for that. But no, they were great. But I made me one. It's pretty super sexy. It's a mallard green barrel with a brass band and an ivory insert. Oh. And everybody that's gotten in the truck has gone, that's a good-looking duck call. You should hear it. And then I blow on it.
It's a great-looking duck call. You said that a ton. Like, you know, we engrave all our duck calls. Like, this is one thing that you said that you don't want a whole ton of engravings on. You don't want to leave it sleek and, you know, shiny how it is. It's real nice.
I've always felt like I got that from Mr. Butch, honestly. Mr. Butch told me like that your shape is everything. It's like how you sign your name. I mean, it's how people know you, whether the sticker's on the call or not. Like people recognize the external shape, and it ought to be your own, you know. And you know, Chick Major's calls were like that, and Mr. Butch always liked that, and he could kind of show you exactly what set it apart. And I always liked that about R&T stuff, you know, that it had a look to it. And so what I like about this call is, like you said, I feel like that call has a look. And when you look at the profile of it, you don't think, oh, that's so-and-so's, or, oh, that's so-and-so. I mean, that's most of the world won't, when they first time they see it, they won't know that as a Rolling Thunder. But I think our shape is unique and it's recognizable. It's also modern. I like the hard lines on it. You know, it I don't know. I'm really proud of it.
We're doing anodized bands with them, like on the black bands, on like the ivory with the black anodized band, and I'm just a huge anodized band fan. It is. It looks sharp. Oh yeah,
I'm a huge brass fan.
God. Drake, what's your opinion?
I think we found us a new polisher.
Frawley's like, yes, finally! Stand on there and throw it for me! Stand on there and throw it! Brass bands! Put gloves on! Don't touch them! They're going to tarnish!
They look great. They're a pain to deal with.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm. And they don't stay looking great long, but it's kind of like CA finish, man. Like it's show is sexy when it first comes off. Mm-hmm. But I like the way brass it's heavy and it's pretty, but I totally understand why y'all hate polishing it. I hate polishing it too, just in case anybody's wondering.
It's tough.
Spike really hates it.
Of course, Spike does hate it.
Speaking of Spike, most people don't really know Spike Buck around here, but he has carried yeoman's load here
Yes.
the last month.
Spike's
or so.
been getting after it.
Yeah, Spike has worked more than anybody here in the past probably 3 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, like today, he's been on top of it. I'd give him something to do. 30 minutes later, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that took you like 2 hours last time. What are you doing?
Yeah, what have you been doing?
Makes you want to go check and make sure it's done right.
He has been though. I mean, you're right. He's really been hustling and just knocking stuff out, and I feel like he's really owning his role.
Yeah.
He's like the kind of the Dennis Rodman without the flair. Like just go get rebounds. Play your role.
Yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, the things that Spike has been doing over the last couple of weeks are things none of us want to do. Mm-hmm. I hope you're not listening to this, Spike. But I mean, he knows. I mean, nobody likes putting O-rings in calls. Nobody likes pressing barrels on. Mm-mm. Nobody likes polishing the inside of barrels. Nobody likes. That's the grunt work that sucks. And the old Spike Buck, takes
it head on.
He's really.
I think he did.
It'll make him a better person.
It will make. You're right.
How many brass bands did he do the other day?
So with that new contraption that I made,
Contraption.
he probably did over 100 and
Yeah, I was thinking 150 or so.
yeah, probably about 150 in like maybe an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
That thing rips.
That would have took him probably 3 hours before.
Way longer than that, probably.
Yeah.
'Cause doing each of them by hand, screw that.
Tell us about the contraption that you built, because it's quite a.
It's a masterpiece.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Basically, what it is we found this expanding rubber mandrel thing, like a rubber. Like a sleeve almost. That.
I would just say you built a mandrel out of rubber. It's got like a rubber core.
Yeah. It's got a piece of all thread going right through the middle of it, and we got the right size and put that all thread through it with the washer on each end and a wing nut. Sink it down on the drill, and
so the inside diameter of these bands is real specific, right? That's machined to a tight tolerance. But Drake found a particular kind of rubber rod that he could thread on the inside of the brass, but then he could take a set screw on either side and tighten it. And so it made the rubber expand and hold the brass in the same spot. And so, like, we went from basically polishing bands one at a time in between thumbs and index fingers, and like trying not to either cut your index finger off or sling the band across the room, to like he chucked it into a hammer drill. It was like there's 5 of them shining like new money. It's brilliant.
yeah, man.
So, all right. Speaking of that call, push in guts or straight tone board,
Oh, we got a straight tone board. We got cork and reed.
right? And where's the O-ring located?
O-ring is located just inside the band, like kind of how we do our XL Brudars, like on the inside of the barrel. It's inside the barrel on the MeanDuck, just behind the band, and I mean, you don't even know it's there. It is an amazing fit.
It's a great fit.
Once Mark took it to me, I was like, that's the fit. Keep that. Don't change anything, because I mean, it is super, super simple. Fits in great.
I love that. I love that about our current, where we're at with what we're machining. Our fit and finish, I think, is really, really good. I like there's enough friction there where you feel like it's not all O-ring, but it's not so tight that you're going to break the tone board pulling it out. And I feel really good about where we're at in terms of, inserts break in and stuff like that. Like we're not currently experiencing that, and when we are, it's the older designs. And so I love the fact that the MeanDuck and the XL and the R and now the OGs have that have our O-ring on the inside of the barrel, and we've gotten it where we've machined that groove deep enough to where the O-ring sits back, and it's not all O-ring, it's not all friction fit. It's like
it's not tearing up.
It's the right marriage.
Yeah.
And that was not easy. We
I was
struggled
about to
with
say
that,
that's a
getting that
science,
right.
because you got to figure out like the diameter of the O-ring in comparison to how deep your groove is, and it was a circus.
Speaking of O-rings, Spike can install some O-rings.
He used to hate that.
He was. We got a young guy up there, he's 13. He's been working a couple days a week, just like an intern, or if you want to call it
Bambi.
that. Or, yeah, Bambi.
Bambi and Spike.
But Spike was teaching Bambi how to O-ring this morning, and it was like, of course, neither one of these young men are at a phase in life where they talk.
Yeah.
So it's like all nonverbal cues. And like,
Grunt, like Tim Allen in Home Improvement.
So like they're up there working, and Bambi tries a couple things, and Spike's like, grabs it and does it and hands it back to him. And like, so then the next one he tried it, and he fixes it, and like they went on, this went on for like 10 calls, and then all of a sudden Bambi just got it right. Light bulb, Spike's like, yeah. It's great. So, where did the name Bambi come from, by the way? Is that from Spike or?
Was it Drake? Did you do that? I think that was...
Someone told it to me.
I thought
we were getting ready for the big golf scramble dinner party, and he was out there helping load, put tables out and stuff, and Spike and what now is Bambi were standing beside each other, like facing away, and they almost looked identical. You could just see the height difference, and Spike was much taller.
Was it Joey?
It was Joey, because we made Joey stand beside him and said, like, Big Buck, Spike Buck, Bambi.
Oh, okay.
Because
They all got the same hair.
When the story got told to me, I heard somebody said, ask Spike, like, who is that? And he was like, I don't know, but he's below the totem pole of me. We're going to call him Bambi. Maybe that got...
I hope that's true.
There was definitely a little bit of, conversation starter in the form of alcohol Friday afternoon around the shop. So that story could have been exaggerated before it got to me, but I loved it. Bambi.
Spike won him a turtle box.
I saw that.
He did?
I don't know if y'all could see it, but I was up there, like, kind of monitoring the hurrying them along so that, we could play some music or whatever. And Spike came up there, he won, a raffle ticket. He come up there and get his prize. And, there's like a whole bunch of really good stuff, like Yeti stuff, like nice, big Yeti prizes. And then there was something else, like there were a couple turtle boxes, but then there were a handful of small things, and he gets like the smallest of the small things. Like he picked up something that had like a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a hat, and a Groove Life belt, which are great things. Right. But as he's walking away, the next person come up there and grabbed something giant, and he wheeled around and he had this look of fear in his face, like I was going to be like,
screwed up.
Nope, you've already got your prize. And he was like, can I switch? I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, it's like relief.
So whenever his number got called, I was sitting there reading Lauren's numbers, and her last one was like whatever, like 580, and his number was whatever it was, 581. It was one number off, and that's one thing Lauren won. It was a turtle box.
Oh gosh.
So then Spike gets it, whatever, and I tell her, like, hey, do you realize what just happened? She's like, no, we didn't win. I was like, yeah, well, we were one number off. Like, and Spike got what you wanted. So then the night goes on, raffling, and her number gets called. She's up there celebrating at the table. I'm like, you need to go up there to get whatever you're going to get, or someone else is going to get it, And she takes a long way around. Another number gets called. Well, he's like right there, so he just gets up, sees Yeti. He grabs something Yeti before she can even get up there. So she gets stuck with the Buff City soap.
So she celebrated at the table too long, and the next number got. Oh gosh, no. Poor Lauren.
I told her, like, what are you going to do with a shell box? Like, what are you going to do with that? Like, I don't know. Re-gift it to you? Or like, oh, okay, I guess.
You're not going to put your soap in it, that's for sure. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Well, I guess the last thing that I would say about the MeanDuck, and we can kind of wrap up this nerd episode here, is it's probably not the last time you're going to see that shape or the semblance of that shape in our line. So I don't want to tell too many more things, but keep your eyes peeled. We got a lot of new things coming.
On this, since we're on a nerd episode, are you going to tell the people about what was on the sticks of acrylic? What we might be?
Right before we started, you brought him in.
That 4-letter word.
Oh, no. Duck? that what you're talking about? DUCK?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, no.
Just know we're busy.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
It might be June. It might be a slow time of year, but we busy up in here.
we are busy. Yeah. And that's a good thing, I guess. It's a good thing. But no, I'm not going to tell the people everything.
Can't show all of our cards.
Yeah. Although along those lines, while we're having cryptic conversation in our meeting earlier, Jason suggested that I might need to shave my beard for a little throwback vintage marketing pitch. And I was like, Jason, do you know how big my double chin is right here? Like it is large. He was like, well, I just think, it might be, make you. It's like, I
I
think.
can see Jason telling you. Well,
I think, Jason, if you were as ugly as me, you wouldn't shave your beard either. Somebody asked me one time why I had a beard, and I said, because one time my uncle looked at me and said, son, you got more chins than a Chinese phone book. Went home, threw all my razors away, and said, I'm growing a beard.
starting now. It's all just going to be one big chin now.
That's the honest truth. I have not shaved it since.
That's hilarious.
That's the same ones get the big giant
Oh
mustache.
yeah. He's had that mustache since he hit puberty. I mean, literally, his ninth grade picture on the wall is big. It's not quite that size, but I mean,
It's a
there he is up
mustache.
there, top right in that picture.
Yeah.
And it's
That's intense.
it's quite a stash. I mean, it's
I wonder how that man eats cheese dip without getting it everywhere.
Oh,
Man,
he saves it for later.
so-
He's got to.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to derail this conversation, but I would venture to say he don't eat much cheese dip. I mean, he's knocking on the door of 70. He's 2.5 years older than my dad. My dad turned 67 yesterday. And until just a few years ago, he was running triathlons 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, swimming on a regular basis, jogging.
That thing floating in the wind.
Lifts.
Does that
lifts
mustache not
weight.
slow him down in the water?
You'd have to
push
ask
away
him, but
like
I mean,
a barge.
I mean, he's like a small version of a Clydesdale. Like he's not super fast, but I mean, he don't stop. You don't want to get in a long distance race with him.
That's awesome.
He's tough cookie there.
He's got one of those Mustang inflatable life jackets on his face.
Mustang inflatable life jackets. Okay.
Oh gosh.
I don't want to say anything critical about it. I mean, yeah, that's the one who said it. So I was like, yeah, okay, at 70, you've got a 6-pack, and I haven't had a 6-pack since
Friday night.
yeah, the good one. Yeah. Well, anyways, so that's the MeanDuck, and next thing on the agenda for us is trade show season's coming. July and August are going to be a absolute blur. Jeez. Yeah. I mean, seriously, though, I was thinking about and just looking at it earlier today on the calendar. It's like, man, it's every weekend. So the little flurry in July and August, I mean, it'll start in Huntsville and then be Birmingham,
Little Rock. Game Fair in Mississippi. Game Fair in Buckmasters.
Yep.
Rogers thrown in there.
Yeah, Rogers before that, actually. Rogers would be the first weekend in August. I think Fort Thompson's is having an event right around the 1st of September, like a statewide sales tax event. I mean, just going to be a blur of places to go and people to see. But make sure you come by, blow the MeanDuck, check it out, and we promise that won't be the last new product that we launch this year. So...
Oh, by the way, you call nerds, there's still 2 numbered Brood XLs
Ooh.
in the,
yeah, we
in the
did
call
see
case. Yeah.
Look at Drake selling stuff. So tell me about that. There are 2 tuxedo Brood XLs.
Yep.
Where were they? Were they in the case with the pistols and stuff?
They were just right up on the far left side if you're standing behind
I think
them.
they're
which
just
is
hard to
right
see
there in the
sometimes.
shadow.
Oh,
Right
right there on the
shadow.
lip
Dutch
of
has
the-
these 2 little rolls of like foam, Astro foam stuff that he rolls out on the counter when he sells somebody a gun. Drives me nuts because they cast a shadow on the calls on that end. It's like, this is the call counter. But
Yeah, we got two numbers. I can't remember what they are.
They're in the 200s. Both of them are, I think.
I think one's in the 100s.
Is it?
I think so. For some reason, 119.
I was thinking.
Do y'all remember how
7 was the number.
tired we were September the 16th trying to stack those calls, those numbered calls in that case? We were just like, I mean, I'm always cross-eyed, but we were all cross-eyed tired. And it was like, and then Aaron moved one stack, and then all of them were off numbered. You know what I mean? It was like there were 22 across here, and then 22, and then all of a sudden these numbers all got moved over here. And then when we unlocked the door, it was like pandemonium of numbers.
I remember that. That was right after Foxhole too, so we were extra tired.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. That was after Foxhole.
Good time.
Yeah, good times, good memories. But so 2 tuxedo Brood XLs. I wonder if are they on the website or would a guy have to call the shop? Let's look here.
I seriously doubt they're on the website. I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Okay, Nancy.
His face.
I mean, we updated the inventory the other day. Frawley's going to kick me in the shin when he leaves here.
He wore boots today.
Do we want to take guesses on whether or not it's on the website?
I'll go with yes. Because it's looking like they might.
What's your guess? So Riles says yes, they're on the website. Drake says
I don't know.
Drake's trying to decide who he wants to.
I don't know.
Drake don't want to piss him off, and yours is. Of course, they're not on the website, right?
No, I didn't say of course. I said
sorry.
I'd be shocked if they were on the website.
Okay. Does anybody want the right answer? They're currently not in stock on the website. So I will say, Mr. Frawley, I was wrong.
Yes, you were.
Hey, you got one
And
today.
who was
We're
right?
right.
I was
You,
right. Yeah.
you, Frawley, you were right,
You
big
got
guy.
one today, Frawley.
And so, as a good coach, as a good coach, I'd like to just finish this conversation. It was like, it's about time you got your head out your ass and you got one right. So, with that being said, I'm going to adjust this and make it so there are now 2 tuxedos available on the website. We need to make sure, in all seriousness, when we conclude this podcast, we need to go make sure that Trip Hodges knows where these 2 tuxedo calls are, because I can see right now somebody's going to order them, and then he's going to come in and be like, "We don't have any more of these."
Okay, keep him guessing. He's looking. Hey, he has been looking for stuff to do. So maybe if those 2 calls get ordered, one thing he can do is look for them, play hide and seek with them.
Good point. Good point. Please order those calls. We should hide them and see what he does.
They're here, Trip.
Yeah.
Hide them in plain
Inventory
sight.
says they're here. Inventory's always right. Oh, me. All right. Well, we've nerded out enough, and we've dug enough holes, enough rabbit trails. Frawley's ready to go home. It's Taco Tuesday.
We haven't Taco Tuesday in a long time.
You know,
We've been eating at the house a lot.
I heard that. I heard Girk's been like meal prepping and Trip's been cooking. And
I made some dinner. I made some chicken Alfredo last night.
I even heard through a little birdie in the grapevine that y'all were doing laundry at your house.
This is true.
Wow.
No longer going to the coin op in town.
Wow.
Night and day difference.
Yeah. Our dishwasher's hooked back up. Our sink's working.
You got hot water?
We got hot water.
No more shop showers.
Yeah, it's a functional
Yeah, no more
house
shop
over there.
showers.
I can't remember what day. I guess it was Thursday week before last. I was up here, and for those of you listening, Thursdays is the end of our work week for the manufacturing team. They work 4 days. Everybody heads out on Thursdays. And with almost everybody being out of town, a lot of the guys just roll out and head out of town for the weekend. And so I was here. It was like 5:30 or something like that, and this place turns into a ghost town at 5 o'clock. Everybody's getting out of here, and I walk into the front room, and like Trip's sitting in one chair, and Levi's sitting in one chair, Frawley's sitting in another chair, and I was like, "What are y'all doing?" They were like, "We take a shower." It's like, "Yeah, I guess." Next thing I know, like they're taking turns taking a shower. I was like, "Why are y'all showering up here? Your house is like 2 miles from here, 3 miles." Oh, we don't. The hot water's broken. It's just been broken. Tripp said it's just been broken a couple days. I looked at him and I was like, "No, your hot water's been broken a month because Frawley called me while I was in Wisconsin. like I know when it was broke." He was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, after we played that round of golf, I showered at the barn with dish soap because I didn't bring my regular soap, thinking there was some in that shower. Left the barn smelling like palm olive.
Not the blue either, the orange palm olive, like citrusy.
Yep, smelled like a lunchroom.
Oh, anyways, life is
hilarious.
Life and times at the shop.
That's right. Karcher's no longer a frat house.
Yeah.
For now.
The lawn has been mowed more than 3 times in the last 30 days. I mean, that's...
The more we spell it out, the more that I just realize that house is a train wreck. There's still turkey fans in the garage.
Really?
Yeah.
Or I don't want to ask any follow-up questions. So I'll just say congratulations on the turkeys that you killed.
They're not mine.
Oh.
And they're not Levi's because he didn't kill any. Well, narrow it down.
On that note, Trip! As Lindy would say, Trip! Oh, me. All right, well, we've gone around the world enough on this one. I think we ought to wrap her up. Frawley, I'm sort of sorry for making this a hard day for you.
That is not a genuine apology.
No, it's not.
It's not.
I mean, I'm sorry that the things I said hurt your feelings.
There we go. They didn't hurt my feelings.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what am I apologizing for?
I don't know.
You're complicated.
Yeah.
Now you just like the fact that this is bothering me.
I'm a dramatic son of a bitch, that's for sure. You can ask Mary Kate about that. I am very dramatic.
Diva.
I met your
Diva, sass.
I met your fiance over the weekend, and I'm not asking her any questions about this conversation or today.
Why?
Just because I'm afraid she might tell me that I was wrong or something. And
oh, no. No.
She going to snap at you.
I hope what she'd say is, yeah, he needed that.
I mean, probably that's exactly what she'd say.
Well,
probably
all that being
didn't
said,
get on me hard enough. We need to wrap this up, bad.
Yeah, we do.
We'll be cutting this part out.
You're going to get a call as soon as you're like, Frawley, I told you. No. Well, anyways, MeanDuck's coming out. Come give it a whirl. We're going to be all across the southeastern United States. We're even going to be up north. So, well, I say we're going to be up north. Girk's going to see his people at Game Fair. No offense to you Midwesterners, but
pilgriming back to the homeland.
Yeah. Here, Girk, go sell a goose call.
Okay, boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're flying off the shelf.
I'm a big goose guy.
Falling off the shelves.
Anyways, so with all that being said, thanks for listening to another episode.
We appreciate you guys stopping by and listening in. This has been another episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast.
Good job, Frawley.
Thank you.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Hey, y'all, this is Spence and Frawley, and just wanted to say thank you for listening to another episode of our podcast. We really, really enjoy producing this podcast and would be really grateful if wherever you get your podcasts, if you would subscribe to the Rolling Thunder Podcast and give us a 5-star rating. Somehow, apparently, out there in internet la media land, that helps our podcast to be found by other people like you. So we just want you to know we appreciate you listening, and we'd like to ask you to subscribe and give us a 5-star review and keep on listening.
And unfortunately, recording podcasts don't pay the bills, so we just do this for fun and for y'all, and we want it to grow as bad as y'all want it to grow. So we could really use your help in doing that.
Share it with a friend.
Yes, right. We appreciate y'all stopping by again.
Thanks for listening.